Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to talk about the national security perspective and would give you some of the components of the national information security policy for which MHA has been mandated. If we look at the national security perspective, that has many dimensions. Right from the physical security, which includes internal threats, unrest, external aggression, border security. We also have security of strategic assets. Could be defense, could be nuclear, could be atomic, could be space. Another important area is critical infrastructure, and especially the critical information infrastructure. Economic security, energy security, and most importantly, the space which is connecting them all, cyberspace, so cyber security. And within cyber security, information security is the most important aspect of national security. Now, if I look at the policy environment for national security, it's a very, very complex environment. There are a number of ministries, number of departments, number of agencies, number of bodies which are involved with the work of national security. It's a very complex maze, so it is very important to define the role and responsibility of every individual organization with respect to every component of security I just explained. Now, if we look at the global concerns, we are aware of the alarming instances of cyber espionage, sensitive information. We are aware of what the project PRISM is doing. Each mail which you are writing, copy of that mail first goes to the US government. It is indexed, it is stored very properly, and only thereafter the recipient is getting it. Same thing is true for your Skype conversation, your text, your messages, everything. And if you look at the cyber espionage which has happened, this has happened either across the strategic sector, the energy security sector, or the economic security sector. And the total loss, which was calculated about 6 months back, 6.9 trillion US dollars. And this has already crossed about $8 trillion by now. Now, let's look at issues in India. Now, obviously, securing sensitive information is a strategic challenge for the country. As Rajesh just explained, we don't have security culture, we have a very open society. Secondly, the economic stability is very, very important for defining national security, and all attacks have been on economic targets. Thirdly, intellectual property is a very, very important aspect which contributes in the development of both the public and the private sector. And they act with a knowledge-based economy like India. And rise in cyber espionage, targeted attacks, critical information infrastructure. Private sector, though they have started investing of late in information security, but they are not alive to the concerns of the national security. They do it where the protection of their own IPR protection of their company, but they are not really sensitized to the national security concerns. So though public sectors are increasingly using IT, government agencies are using IT, but they are not really awakened to the challenges of national security, though they would like to do it. So therefore, protecting information is the key enabler right now, is the key challenge for national security. Now, why this has happened? What is the relevance in today's context? Firstly, most paper-based information is going digital. Whether you talk of Aadhaar, you talk of cash benefit transfer, you talk of passport database, everything is going digital. And technology, whereas it is becoming enabler, it is also becoming a potential threat. You just imagine WikiLeaks. Just a small pen drive and 2.5 lakh emails the guy could just fish out, could take away. That is not a security breach, that is a personal security breach. A person digital. Then rapid technology advancement, it is making the information boundaryless, becoming a bigger challenge to secure this information. The need for monitoring, enforcement and regular updates. Security of strategic information becoming more and more important and urgent, but it's becoming difficult. Just imagine if you have a strategic asset, you have a nuke installed in Pakistan, and somebody gets into that program. They can fire it. They can fire it on India, they can fire it on US, they can do anything. And the kind of havoc it is going to play. Same thing is true for India. Then services, most of the government services, most of the government database, they are going online. And therefore, we need a robust and comprehensive information security policies, which are aligned to the current threats. Now, just one slide I would like to explain to you. What is the security ecosystem? You have national security, you have cyber security, you have information security, which is part of an organizational security. So most sensitive component is the pink one. That is sensitive and critical information of an organization in cyberspace, having bearing on the national security. For example, the unauthorized access to sensitive information residing in computer systems. Secondly, the cyber security element, which has bearing on information security of an organization. For example, the attack on the applications, the network, the database, though it has no national security implications, but it definitely has implication for the organization as such. Third is access to sensitive critical information of an organization, having national relevance. For example, the unauthorized access to strategic document. It may not be cyber in nature. It may be physical in nature. For example, if somebody takes away the top secret file, physical files, then cyber security elements confined to organization, which has no national security implication. For example, disrupting the function of infrastructure application like denial of service, attack. Then disrupting organization services having bearing on national security. For example, distribution of transportation and utility services. Stuxnet, that was part of this kind of a cyber attack. Then disruption of physical infrastructure having bearing on national security, that is bomb, earthquake, fire, etc. And finally, the cyber security component of national security of a nation, which is not confined to a particular organization. For example, undersea cable cutting, that also affects the national security and the cyber security. Now, the entire cyberspace has been divided into different areas, and responsibility has been given to different organizations, different ministries. For example, MHA and IB, they handle information security, both classification and codification. The IT and NIC, they handle government IT infrastructure security. They also handle organization called CERTIN. So they handle general monitoring and supervision of cyberspace. NCIIPC handles critical information infrastructure. DOT is handling the security of communication infrastructure. And crisis management plans are then being framed by every ministry, which have a common component, which have a sector-specific component, and they are being implemented. So, Ministry of IT has a very important role. MHA has a very important role. And these roles are overlapping to some extent. Number of organizations are working with MCIT. Similarly, MHA is working on the information security, which has implications on most of the other aspects. So MHA is primarily handling the national common information security policies and guidelines and cybercrime. So these two areas MHA is handling, whereas other ministries are handling other areas. Now MHA took a very fundamental study of the systems on as-on basis and what are the standards being followed in telecom sector, BSFI, under the IT Act and under the various government guidelines issued by DIT or DOT or NIC. We looked at every guideline. We looked at whatever has been issued till date to go for a comprehensive way of defining information security. So what we did, we divided this information into a number of areas. Commercial information, personal information, financial information, then government information, which also contains the social security, citizen data, public IPR, geological data, economic data, transaction data, and then critical infrastructure. On top of that, we have internal security and external affairs. Both are extremely important. And then the strategic layer. And different layer, the different component of the layer will have to be given different treatments. And then we found out as to what all is relevant for these layers. We also studied the security standard being followed by different layers, by players in different layers. So we looked at ISO standards, both 2005 and 2013, PCI standards, HIPAA, DSF, that is the standard being followed by Data Security Council of India, SAN standard, RBI standard, SEBI standard. All standards were studied for different layers. And thereafter, we also studied all the reference standards like FISMA, like NIST. All these standards were studied. And ultimately, we came up with this National Security Information Security Policy, which is primarily for strategic information security capability, developing this capability in the country. Economic security through reliable security practices, assurance by building trustworthiness, assurance on protection of intellectual property rights, and resilient and reliable infrastructure against all kinds of threats. So we developed this policy. So I'm going to give you some details of the policy. No, not all the details I'll be able to give you. This policy has primarily 8 core areas, 8 core domains which it touches. Data security, application security, identity and access management, network and infrastructure management, physical security, security monitoring and incident management, threat and vulnerability management, and personal security. And then you have business continuity and disaster recovery planning, and security audit and testing which goes across all the domains. It involves guidelines, and these guidelines evolved with reference to specific approaches and standards and practices. And similarly, it also looked at various approaches like security organization, the application security function, the threat intelligence, content classification. Different content classification has different kind of security requirements. So that standard 5 classification category, 5 categories of information classification have been adopted in this. Then treatment at strategic and tactical operational level. Then knowledge and skills required to implement these. And characterized with specific technologies and services. So number of technology and services we have looked at. And ultimately we have come up with the comprehensive policy. So that's the policy document, which has been circulated for final comment by all the stakeholders. And I intend to issue this final draft by the end of the month. Once we issue this draft, this policy contains 8 core domains, 62 guidelines, and 132 controls. And we have mapped these 132 controls against the controls provided in the other standards, including whatever has been provided by NIC till date. And all this has been done with specific reference to information security, because we are not claiming that we will give you the foolproof method of, say, securing IT assets. No, that is the responsibility of the NIC. So NIC guidelines are there, NIC guidelines would apply, but information security guidelines would apply over and above that. So we have mapped these 132 controls against the guidelines issued by NIC, against the NCI-PC controls. There are 40 controls which have been defined. Similarly, ISO 27001, both 2005 and 2013, then FISMA and NIST, then SANS 20. So all these have been very properly mapped in the policy. And then for each guideline, each of the 62 guidelines and 132 controls, what are the action points which are emerging? What are the policy points which are emerging? Those have been given. And their specific relevance to information security has been given. So I think this policy is going to be finalized by March end, and thereafter we are going to place this policy in the public domain. Now this policy is mandatory for all the government ministries, government departments, PSUs, banks, everybody. This policy is mandatory. But this policy is not mandatory for private sector. For them it is just a recommendation. It is for them to look at the policy and to follow it if they feel so. But obviously if they are working with the government on some project, so with respect to that project, they'll have to follow this policy. They have to comply with the security standards prescribed by the government. So that is all I wanted to share with you. I am thankful to the organizers for giving us the opportunity to share our views. And I would welcome any comments, any suggestions, any questions.